The acrid, choking smell of burnt pine needles tore at Sylvana's throat, each breath a painful reminder of what she had lost. Her powerful silver-gray paws moved with an uncharacteristic hesitation, sinking into the still warm ash that carpeted the forest floor. Through the haze of smoke and the film of profound grief glazing her amber eyes, she navigated the unrecognizable landscape that had once been her sanctuary. She reached the gnarled roots of what used to be a towering cedar, now a blackened stump. This was it, the collapsed entrance of her den, a cave that had offered warmth and safety, was now a tomb. Tons of charred rock and debris had crushed it, burying her worst fears beneath an insurmountable weight. Her four pups, just weeks old, were gone. A primal keening wail tore from her chest, a sound of unimaginable loss that sliced through the eerie silence, echoing across the desolation. The Tongass National Forest, usually a vibrant symphony of life, was now a silent, blackened graveyard, a testament to an unnaturally swift and ferocious devastation that had swept through with a terrifying, calculated precision. For 3 days, Sylvana wandered, a ghost in her own territory. Food held no appeal, and the comforting nudges from Grizzle and the few surviving pack members were met with a blank stare. Her milk-swollen glands ached, a cruel physical manifestation of the empty ache in her soul. She was adrift, tethered only by the crushing weight of her grief. On the fourth day, something stirred within the void. A scent, unusual and out of place, pricked at her nose. It wasn't wolf nor typical prey, but something vulnerable, fragile, mixed with a faint metallic tang she couldn't quite place, yet it seemed vaguely familiar, unsettling. It was a call to something beyond her grief, an urgent, unfamiliar pull that overrode the instinct to wallow. Her nose twitched, triangulating the foreign notes, and she found herself following the scent away from the worst of the burn zone towards a patch of forest that, though singed, still clung to life. Then, a sound. High-pitched, desperate, it was a cry that snagged at her attention, utterly unlike the yips of a wolf pup, yet just as vulnerable. Deeper into the clearing, amidst the undergrowth that had miraculously survived the inferno, she found it. A tiny fawn, no more than 3 weeks old, golden brown with perfect white spots, trembled visibly. His coat, however, shimmered with an almost unnatural glow, catching the subdued light of the ash-laden sky in a way that defied explanation. Her gaze drifted to a nearby huckleberry bush, its leaves seared but intact. There, faint, almost invisible, was a crystalline residue, catching the sunlight strangely, winking with an alien, manufactured quality. It was utterly out of place in the ancient forest, a stark contrast to the organic decay surrounding it. Her apex predator instincts screamed, demanding the immediate closure of a swift attack, a familiar rhythm of survival. But a different, more powerful surge, a torrent of maternal hormones, flooded her, overriding the primal urge. The tiny fawn, Ember, looked up, his large brown eyes fixed on her face not with fear, but with a desperate, unwavering hope. He stumbled towards her, each step a testament to his fragility, his trust a bewildering challenge to everything she knew. This, this is not natural, Sylvana thought, her mind grappling with the fawn's impossible lack of fear, the strange glint of his coat, and the unsettling residue. She sensed a secret, cold and intricate, woven into this tiny creature's very presence, pulling her into an unknown, dangerous territory. Ember, the tiny fawn, finally succumbed to his weakness, collapsing against Sylvana's massive paw. He was severely dehydrated, his breath shallow, on the precipice of death. A profound internal war raged within Sylvana. Millennia of predatory instinct screamed at her to deliver a swift, merciful end, to claim him as food for the suffering pack. But arrayed against that ancient urge was an overwhelming wave of maternal grief, a hollow ache that resonated with the fawn's own desperate need, and an unexplainable, profound urge to protect this unique, fragile creature. The agonizing decision crystallized in the instant of his collapse. Instead of a killing bite, Sylvana lowered her massive head, her nose brushing his soft golden fur. Gently, with a tenderness that defied her nature, she licked Ember's face and ears. The response was immediate, instinctive. Ember, fueled by a last surge of desperate hope, pressed closer to her warmth, his tiny head rooting against her belly, seeking the life-giving milk he so desperately needed. Sylvana sank to the ground, her powerful body settling into the nursing posture. Her milk, which had been a painful reminder of her lost pups, now flowed freely, warm and abundant. A strange, unfamiliar purpose filled the cavernous emptiness in her heart. Ember drank with an almost violent desperation, his trust absolute and innocent. This unwavering faith, this complete lack of fear in the face of an apex predator, solidified Sylvana's conviction. Ember was different. He was not just prey, he was something more, something she instinctively knew she had to protect. The distant crunch of approaching paws, heavy and deliberate, sent a jolt of urgency through her. Grizzle, her mate, was less than 100 yards away, seeking her. Sylvana knew with a chilling certainty that her pack would never understand this. Grizzle, the magnificent black alpha, would be furious at her defiance of all natural law, of their shared legacy of survival. He emerged from the undergrowth, his obsidian coat gleaming under the dappled sunlight of the unburnt clearing, a powerful silhouette against the green. His intelligent eyes, usually filled with a knowing intensity, widened with shock and disbelief at the sight of his mate, the alpha of the pack, nursing a deer fawn. A low growl, deep and dangerous, rumbled in his chest, confusion swiftly transforming into a predatory intensity. "Sylvana, move away from the prey," Grizzle commanded, his voice a low warning. Sylvana raised her head, meeting his shocked stare with unwavering defiance. She curved her body protectively over Ember, shielding him from Grizzle's predatory gaze. "This is not prey," she stated, her voice calm but firm. "This is my son." Grizel was incredulous. "Your son is dead, buried under the rock slide. This is a deer, Sylvana. This is food." His words were laced with a mixture of grief and outrage, his instincts warring with his love for his mate. Sylvana's voice, though pained and thick with recent loss, carried the undeniable authority of an alpha. "My pups are gone. This baby needed a mother, and I needed something to mother. If you cannot understand that, then you do not understand me." Her words were a challenge, a plea, and a declaration of her unwavering will. Just then, Ember stirred, rousing from his milk-induced sleep. He lifted his tiny head, his large brown eyes blinking. He saw Grizzle, a formidable black shape looming over them, and in a startling, unconscious mimicry of wolf body language, his tiny tail wagged, a faint tremor of joy. A soft, almost imperceptible gasp escaped Sylvana. She looked at Grizzle, whose initial shock was now giving way to a flicker of profound confusion in his intelligent eyes. "He thinks you are his father," she whispered, the unexpected truth hanging heavy in the air between them, an unheard promise forged in smoke and grief. Grizzle circled Sylvana and the fawn, his magnificent black form a coiled tension. His analytical mind, honed by years of alpha leadership, struggled to process Ember's unusual behavior, the tiny tail wagging in innocent mimicry of a wolf pup. But his voice, when he spoke, was laden with concern for the pack. "The others will never accept this, Sylvana. Willow will challenge your alpha status for this." Sylvana's agonizing decision solidified. There was no turning back. Her pups were gone, and Ember was hers now. "Then we leave," she declared, her resolve unyielding. "We take Ember and find new territory. Just the three of us." The words hung heavy in the air, a profound sacrifice. Before their debate could continue, the sound of crashing underbrush echoed from the trees. Willow, Ranger, and Flint were close, having followed Grizzle's trail. Willow emerged first, a sleek female with intelligent yellow eyes, her gaze fixed on the impossible scene before her. Her voice was sharp, laced with open challenge. "You are feeding our prey instead of hunting. Have you lost your mind?" Sylvana rose, a formidable silver-gray figure, positioning herself protectively between Ember and the challenging wolves. "I accept your challenge, Willow," she stated, her voice carrying the undeniable weight of alpha authority. "But understand this, if you lose, you accept my decision completely. Ember becomes part of this pack, with all the protection that membership provides." The ensuing fight was brief, decisive. Sylvana, fueled by grief and a fierce maternal instinct, fought with an intensity that reaffirmed her leadership. Willow, though skilled, was no match for the Alpha's raw power and unwavering determination. The pack's uneasy acceptance, however, was merely a thin veil over their deep-seated predatory instincts. Ember remained a living paradox, a fawn among wolves. In the days that followed, Sylvana began teaching Ember not how to be a wolf, that was impossible, but how to survive as a deer with a wolf's acute awareness of danger. She showed him which plants were safe, where to find water, and how to blend into the shadows. Yet she couldn't help but notice his accelerated learning. Ember grasped concepts with unusual speed, his intelligent brown eyes tracking her movements, absorbing every lesson with uncanny focus. During one lesson, deep in a section of forest miraculously spared by the fire, Sylvana's nose caught a subtle, acrid scent beneath the earthiness. She paused, her hackles rising. Concealed beneath a tangle of roots and damp leaves when she discovered a high-tech trap. It was unlike any poacher's snare, far too intricate, almost surgical in its design, and near it, the disturbed earth revealed a subtle, iridescent sheen, a biomarker, almost glowing in the filtered sunlight, utterly alien to the ancient forest. A low growl rumbled in her chest. This wasn't random. She also found fragments of a specialized, heat-resistant, synthetic material, almost like hardened plastic, glinting dully on the forest floor. Someone is here, doing something. Unnatural, she growled, showing the evidence to Grizzle, who had joined them, his own senses now alerted. And it's connected to Ember. I feel it. A chilling realization dawned on her. Ember's unusual intelligence and his baffling lack of fear might not be just innocence. They could be a direct consequence of whatever human activity had left these unsettling traces. From that day, she led Ember on expeditions far from the established pack territory, always with an eye for more clues. She noticed patterns of strange plant growth, patches of unnaturally vibrant flora, and areas where water flowed with an unnerving, crystalline clarity. The pieces of a sinister puzzle were beginning to fall into place. When you smell wolf, you run, she would teach Ember, her voice firm. You run faster than you ever run before. But her mind was consumed with the human scent, the faint chemical tang, the metallic glint of the synthetic fragments. Ember, now growing rapidly on a diet of wolf milk and tender plants, practiced his escape techniques with uncanny speed, his natural deer agility coupled with a wolf's tactical understanding. Sylvana realized her love for Ember had pulled her into a dangerous, hidden human world, a conspiracy far bigger than any pack conflict. She looked back at the charred remains of her den in the distance. This fire, it wasn't just lightning, she whispered to herself, a chilling thought taking root, deep and terrifying. The forest, once her home, now felt like a battleground, and Ember, her adopted son, was at its heart. The uneasy routine within the pack persisted, a silent, grudging acceptance of Ember's presence. But Sylvana's heightened awareness for human signs never waned. She meticulously patrolled the edges of their territory, her senses constantly searching. She found evidence of sophisticated, non-natural surveillance, tiny, almost invisible sensors embedded in trees, faint electromagnetic signatures that hummed beneath the natural sounds of the forest. The humans were not just present, they were watching. Other predators, bears, mountain lions, even other wolf packs, remained a constant threat to Ember. Sylvana, fierce and unyielding, defended him with every fiber of her being, her powerful body a living shield against the dangers of the wilderness. Each confrontation was a visceral reminder of the fragility of his existence and the heavy burden of her choice. During one such defense, after chasing off a lone male wolf attracted by Ember's scent, Sylvana investigated a patch of disturbed earth. Near a large, freshly made paw print, too precise, too angular to be natural, she found something chilling. Partially buried in the damp soil was a discarded, specialized syringe, unlike any she'd ever seen, and next to it a tiny data chip-like fragment, smooth and cold against her nose. They were here, close, and Ember. He's somehow connected to their work. Sylvana whispered to Grizzle, her voice a low growl filled with dread and urgency. The metallic tang, the strange glint, the unusual materials. It was all converging. Ember, now 6 months old, was growing rapidly. his golden brown coat thicker, his white spots still vibrant, his frame transitioning into awkward adolescent proportions. He had developed enough confidence to explore short distances, always returning to Sylvana, a magnetic pull between them. One crisp afternoon, driven by the early snows, a small herd of wild deer moved into a neighboring valley. Ember, drawn by the scent of his own kind, ventured out. Sylvana, returning from a solo hunt, tracked him to a sun-drenched meadow where the herd grazed nervously. The herd, sensing Ember's mixed scent of deer and wolf, a paradox of nature, snorted in alarm. Their tails flagged, their ears swiveled, and then, with a unified stampede, they rejected him, raising alarm calls that echoed through the valley, broadcasting a clear message of danger. Ember stood alone, confused, bewildered. The commotion, however, had drawn something else. A massive black bear, drawn by the scent of the isolated, confused fawn, lumbered out from the dense woods, its eyes fixed on Ember. It was a formidable predator, easily 400 pounds of muscle and teeth. Sylvana exploded from the tree line, a silver-gray blur of fury, a roar tearing from her throat that announced her presence with terrifying finality. She launched herself at the bear, a 90-pound wolf against a behemoth, a desperate act of pure maternal rage. But then, something astonishing happened. Ember, instead of fleeing, instead of succumbing to his prey instinct, charged the bear from the opposite side. His budding antlers, though small, were sharp, and his hooves, usually for flight, became weapons. He fought alongside Sylvana, a coordinated, unexpected assault that sent the bear reeling. The massive creature, confused by this unprecedented, familial assault, a deer fighting alongside a wolf, hesitated, then retreated, lumbering back into the trees, leaving Sylvana and Ember side by side, panting, adrenaline coursing through their veins. He fought for me, for us, Sylvana realized, her heart swelling with a fierce pride that momentarily overshadowed her fear. But then, a chilling understanding settled over her. Ember's intelligence, his unwavering loyalty, his coordinated behavior in the face of a predator, it was too profound for a wild deer. This wasn't merely a fawn she had rescued from the ashes. He was a product or a subject of the shadowy human activity she'd glimpsed, perhaps even genetically altered. The data chip, the syringe, the biomarkers, they all clicked into place. This realization solidified her resolve to uncover the truth. Ember's unique nature made him a target for both the wild animals who saw him as an anomaly and the humans who had created or released him. She gazed at Ember, who was now nuzzling her side, his soft fur a comfort against her own. This love, it's not just a bond, she thought, the unspoken words a heavy promise. It's a shield against a human secret that could destroy us all. If you're finding this story as gripping as I am, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with fellow thriller enthusiasts, and subscribe so you don't miss a single crucial twist in Sylvana's perilous journey. Because what she's about to uncover isn't just a secret, it's a life-threatening conspiracy that goes far deeper than anyone could imagine. Sylvana knew with a certainty that gnawed at her that Ember's unique existence would continue to attract danger. Not just from the wild, but from the unseen human forces now confirmed to be actively engaged in their territory. His extraordinary intelligence, his unusual resilience, these were not natural gifts but signs of intervention, a beacon for those who sought to control or exploit. Her most agonizing decision began to take shape. She began teaching Ember how to live completely independently in the wild, far from the pack's dwindling territory, in a remote, pristine valley where other deer herds often wintered. She showed him the densest thickets for cover, the safest paths along the river, the richest patches of lichen and browse. "You are strong enough now to survive without me," Sylvana told him during one of these expeditions, her voice heavy with an emotion she fought to suppress. Ember, now nearly full-grown, a sturdy yearling with a sleek, golden-brown coat pressed against her side, his large brown eyes pleading, "I do not want to leave you. You are my mother. You are my pack." Sylvana's heart shattered at his words, each one a shard of the bond they had forged in ash and grief. But her determination to protect him from the emerging conspiracy, from the shadowy human hands she now knew existed, was stronger than her personal pain. This was the ultimate act of maternal love, to let go for survival. She orchestrated their separation with meticulous planning. Days later, she led him to the designated safe valley, where the scent of other deer was fresh and the signs of human intrusion were minimal. She touched her nose to his forehead in a final silent blessing, a transfer of strength and love. Then, with a resolve that felt like tearing her own flesh, she turned away without looking back, leaving him to find his own way. With Ember safely away, Sylvana turned her attention fully to the human threat. Grief and fear transformed into a cold, burning resolve. She now actively tracked every strange scent, every glint of crystalline residue, every fragment of technology she had found. Her senses, already sharpened by her alpha status, became instruments of detection, seeking out the unnatural in her wilderness. Deep in a dense, untouched section of the forest, she found it. A hidden camouflage drone casing, partially embedded in the moss, its intricate design unlike any natural formation. Clearly visible on its smooth, dark surface were corporate markings, a stylized logo that confirmed her worst fears. This was undeniable evidence of unauthorized surveillance in a larger organized operation. Following a faint electrical pulse she had learned to detect, a subtle hum beneath the forest's silence, Sylvana discovered a concealed, overgrown research outpost. It appeared abandoned, but the signs of recent, hurried evacuation were everywhere. Tracks in the mud, fresh tire marks, the faint scent of human fear. Inside, the scene was one of chaos. Discarded logbooks, some half-burned, lay strewn across overturned tables, filled with cryptic notes and diagrams. Strange animal enclosures, rusted and bent, hinted at genetic experimentation or accelerated growth research on local wildlife. The chilling realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. The Tongass forest fire, the one that had claimed her pups, was not an accident. It was a diversion, a catastrophe directly linked to this clandestine facility, perhaps even caused by it. Beneath an overturned desk, a partial, heavily encrypted data stick glinted, half hidden. Sylvana, with Grizzle's cautious presence beside her, nudged it free, retrieving the smooth, metallic object. She didn't understand its purpose, but she knew its significance. They were experimenting on the wildlife here, maybe even on Ember, she growled, the chilling pieces of the puzzle starting to connect, forming a terrifying mosaic of manipulation and destruction. Her mission now was clear: expose what she had found. This was no longer just about survival. It was about justice for the forest, for her lost pups, and for Ember, who carried the mark of their unnatural intervention. This agonizing decision to push Ember away for his safety and then pursue this dangerous truth defined Sylvana's profound moral conviction, breaking all natural protocol for a wolf. She realized this conspiracy, if left unchecked, would destroy everything she held sacred about the wilderness, twisting life into something grotesque and controlled. She had to fight. 3 years had carved deeper lines into Sylvana's face, tracing the wisdom and the burdens she carried. Now 8 years old, streaks of silver gray dusted her muzzle, a testament to her age and the silent battles she'd fought. She had never stopped listening, her senses attuned to the faintest whisper of the wind for Ember's call. During a late autumn hunt, the crisp air suddenly carried it, Ember's distinctive alarm call. It wasn't the frantic snort of a wild deer. It was a specific, urgent pattern, a sequence of bleats and stomps she had painstakingly taught him. Ember was in danger. Without a moment's hesitation, Sylvana abandoned her pack. Grizzle, loyal to the end, did not question, but simply fell into step beside her, understanding the profound urgency in her powerful stride. They raced through the familiar yet ever-changing forest, following the fading echoes of the call. They found him trapped. Ember, now a magnificent buck with a full, impressive rack of antlers, was stranded on a treacherous, steep ravine ledge, unable to climb or descend. Below, the faint, metallic scent she now knew so well, the scent of the corporate entity from the abandoned outpost, drifted up. They were actively hunting him, she realized, likely for his unique genetic traits, or to silence him as a dangerous loose end. The rescue was a complex ballet of instinct and learned intelligence. Sylvana communicated silently with Ember. Her amber eyes conveyed instructions. Grizzle, using his strength, found a precarious perch, bracing against loose rock. Ember, with incredible trust in the agility she'd helped him hone, maneuvered precisely as Sylvana instructed, pushing off a crumbling outcrop, catching a root Grizzle extended, until he finally scrambled free, a powerful leap bringing him back to solid ground. Mother and son stood facing each other, breath steaming in the cool air. Ember, his eyes filled with gratitude and an intelligence that still defied nature, pressed his forehead against Sylvana's. "You taught me that family is not about species or genetics," he communicated, his resonant bleats and gestures clearer than any words. "It's about love that transcends every boundary." As they found temporary refuge, Sylvana explained the human conspiracy she had uncovered years ago: the genetic experiments, the environmental manipulation, the catastrophic fire. Ember, in a mix of deer vocalizations and wolf body language, confirmed strange, ingrained memories of sterile labs, the scent of chemicals, and human faces masked by anonymity. He was a product of their hubris. Their fragile reunion was shattered by the snapping of twigs. A small, armed corporate security team, equipped with tranquilizer darts, materialized from the trees. This was the direct confrontation Sylvana had dreaded, but now she was not alone. Using their deep knowledge of the forest and their combined intelligence, Sylvana, Grizzle, and Ember outwitted and evaded the team. They led the humans into a trap of their own design, a narrow gorge choked with fallen timber, where the team's high-tech equipment became a hindrance. In the ensuing chaos, Ember, with a tactical finesse learned from his wolf mother, deliberately led the pursuing agents past a hidden trail camera, a device discreetly left by an independent researcher investigating the Tongass fire. Their equipment, their corporate markings, their aggressive intent, all captured. The data sticks Sylvana had retrieved from the abandoned outpost 3 years ago held crucial evidence. With the corporate team exposed, the stick's heavily encrypted contents were finally deciphered, revealing the Aegis Project, a global genetic engineering conspiracy, its tendrils reaching far beyond the Tongass, and its direct link to the unnatural wildfire and Ember's unique existence. News broke, igniting a public outcry that swept through the corporate world. The immense pressure led to the downfall of the corporation, its nefarious activities brought to light. Slowly, painstakingly, the Tongass National Forest began to heal, its scars fading as life reclaimed its territory. Sylvana, Grizzle, and Ember lived freely, their extraordinary bond becoming a legend whispered among the ancient trees, a testament to resilience, truth, and the boundless power of love that transcends species, instincts, and the dark secrets of humanity. Their stories served as a timeless reminder that even in the face of overwhelming power and scientific hubris, the wild spirit, guided by love, would always find a way to prevail, echoing through the restored wilderness for generations.